Hello, Tom.
Hi.
Today we continue with our series of English lessons, Speak Like President, and today's president is Barack Obama. The first word is grievance, to deal with the grievances.
They have no access to using the political process to deal with their grievances.
A grievance would be a complaint. It would come from the word grief, which means sadness over some event. So to deal with their grievance would mean to deal with somebody's complaint.
The good news is that so far, at least, all the parties have said that we want to abide by the Constitution.
Abide means to follow generally the law. So you say you want to abide by the law. It also means you want to comply with something, which means you want to follow the rule of something, whether or not you're being specifically forced to do that.
A law-abiding citizen, so a citizen who abides by the law.
Right. Even when nobody's looking, they still obey the law. Even when there's no possibility that they can get caught, they still follow the law voluntarily.
We can't do it for them, and we certainly can't redeploy tens of thousands of U.S. troops to try to keep a lid on a problem if the people themselves don't want to solve it.
Idea there would be you have a pot of food, and it might boil over if there's too much heat on it. So to prevent it from boiling over, you just put something on the lid, and you prevent it from the bad event from happening. So you can tell somebody, if somebody wants to say something, you could say, just keep a lid on that. It means don't talk about that. Or in this case, there's a problem. Basically means to either not talk about the problem or to prevent the problem from getting too severe.
And so what we want to do is to lift up best practices, show that for companies who are offering.
In this case, lift up means to raise or to bring something to the forefront or to provide support for something. As a manager, oftentimes there might be a particular practice that's good that they want the entire organization to follow. So they would lift up this procedure or practice and try to standardize it so everybody follows it.
So you can think of organization's rules as a big container, and something is in the bottom and is not visible or not used, so they will lift it up and bring it to the to prominence or to the forefront.
Exactly.
Their workers are more productive, more loyal, there's lower turnover, and ultimately they're going to be more profitable.
In this case, turnover refers to employees leaving an organization. So you might expect that when you hire somebody that within 5 or 6 years, it's very likely the person is either going to quit or they're going to get fired. Some companies might have a lot of their employees leave after 5 or 6 months. So that would be very high turnover. Whereas other organizations, people might oftentimes work for the same company for 10 or 20 years. In that case, it would be very low turnover.
And it comes from turnover also means to rotate, like the engine turned over, right? So you can think of employees as on a conveyor belt or as something that rotates. One comes out, another comes in. So that's where that might help to understand this idea, why this
exactly.
turnover is used.
You can also talk about turnover of inventory. This is how long it takes the inventory between the time it gets shipped and between the time it gets sold. So
So you
store
want to have a
high turnover.
high turnover.
If you have low turnover, that means that the inventory is sitting on your shelves too long.
So when it comes to employees or human resources, you want to have a low turnover. When it comes to the inventory, you want to have a high turnover.
Exactly. And they can also talk about turnover of capital as well. This would be where you make an investment, you recover your investment, and then you're able to sell the investment and invest in something new. So in this case, it all depends, but typically you would like to have something where you can recover your money fairly fast. A turnover is a pastry, where usually an apple turnover, where they take a square of dough, they put the apple in the middle, and then they fold the square of dough over to contain the apple. So that would be an apple turnover. They also have pineapple, a
Sounds delicious.
few other ones as well.
Okay, well, that's all for today. Thank you, Tom. And Tom is your ESL teacher. He teaches English in the United States and all over the world using Skype. And you can be reached at your website, which is
ESL-fullspeedahead.com.